I'm encouraging Edo citizens to please come out and vote. Don't be scared. There's adequate security. And I've just spoken to the police authorities and security agencies to allow those who want to go and vote and have proof of their PVCs with them to go out to their polling units to vote. I know some people's polling units have been put further than where they can trek to, and they will need to drive. I'm appealing to the police authorities, the security agencies, to allow people who have proof that they are going to vote, allow them go and vote and drive to their polling units. But right now, there's a total lockdown in the city, and that is preventing people from going to their polling units.
Thank you, Excellency.
Comrade Show, Comrade Lante Oriake. This is the Comrade Show.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are in the globe. This is your darling program, The Comrade and Friends. And today we're just going to look at a quick synopsis of the governorship and House of Assembly election scheduled and holding today across Nigeria and in many states of the Federation. That was Governor Godwin Obaseki speaking earlier on, talking about the election and encouraging citizens of Edo State to come out in their drove to vote. You will recall that this election was meant to take place on the 11th of March 2023, but INEC came out last week, just before, I think it was midweek before the 11th, to inform the entire public that the election will now be today. And from reports reaching us, it's not been a very good one. But we'll be with you just to dissect the election in our own usual way, and also to encourage Nigerians that the only way to get through to true democracy is even more democracy. I'm not alone today in the house. I have the CNC of the Comrade Show, the GCO of the Great Obedient Movement with me. My name is Pharmacist Augustine Iremira. I remain yours truly obedient. I want to bring in CNC Komilate Pausaraki to greet our people as we embark on this 1 hour discussion just to look at the gubernatorial election and House of Assembly elections across many states in Nigeria. Komilate Pausaraki, you are welcome. Please greet our people. You are muted.
Yes, my brother, thank you so much. Obedient Pharmacist Austin Iremira. Yes, Nigerians, greetings to you all. It is the Comrade Show. And of course, like Obedient Pharmacist has said, we just want to take a view, take a window to look at the election. It's still ongoing. Votes are being counted right now in some quarters, in some of the polling units. Some have declared their results. And of course, so much crisis, to say the least, so much crisis. Well, stay with us. Share the broadcast if you could. That would be very nice. And don't forget to give us the likes and the loves and the red heads if you could. Whichever one, it's okay. Yes, over to you, pharmacist.
Yeah, thank you so much, Komilate Pausaraki. You are done in your usual khaki. You are comrade true and true. But let's just go back. What is happening in our country? What is happening in Nigeria? With what we've seen across the states, it looks like there's a general apathy. Voters have refused to come out. The very few that have come out, they've been intimidated. I think all this is just put together. One can say that it is lack of faith in INEC, the umpire, following from what happened about 3 weeks ago when the presidential elections took place. One would also be surprised that even with the upheaval and noise coming all the way from Lagos, with MC Oluomo coming out pointedly to accuse non-Igbos and to threaten them not to vote, one would have expected that security would be beefed off around the Lagos environment. But Komilante, just before, as we begin to start to dissect, I think Lagos, the information coming out from Lagos is very, very frustrating. It's disheartening. Lagos is supposed to be the first city, if not the second city in Nigeria, whichever way you look at it, both in terms of capital and in terms of commercial. And to see that coming all the way from Lagos is very frustrating. Before we came on air, I was even watching the Nollywood actress who was running for her dear life. Somewhere in VGC, the INEC officials refused to go into VGC and said they have to come out to vote. So there about 1,000 voters have been stopped from voting. In our God Palace way, there was even another fight where the Igbos and some other LP supporters rose up and confronted those that wanted to cause mayhem. Eventually, one was killed. Comrade Lamte, why is elections like this in Nigeria?
What now? The area boys from the Yoruba stock, they came here and scattered this polling unit, where you have about 2,000 people. The election was just about 1 hour, 30 minutes into the election. Then mostly boys.
Okay.
The video was dark. We couldn't see anything.
Oh yeah. I could notice that. Apologies, Nigerians. We're going to try to replay that again. It's part of what has been happening around the reports making round across Lagos State and very many other states, even our own Edo State. To be honest, again, my father used to tell us, once bitten, twice shy. One would have expected that, looking at what has happened in the presidential elections just over a few weeks ago, and that this one would have been, a process that INEC would have used to redeem herself. Unfortunately, even worse than what we saw the last time during the presidential is probably what we are going to be reporting, across Nigeria over this particular election. I think honestly, it's unfortunately it's so hard to believe that we are not learning at all. It's so hard to believe that the desperations of the desperation of politicians outweighs the commitment of Nigerians. We have touted Oshomole as saying that for democracy to thrive, only those who can endure the pain of rigging should participate. And what we are seeing right now, particularly with low voters turnout, the voter apathy arising from the effort Nigerians put into the last presidential elections, and the guts, the shock of their lives, as it were. Now,
Just to pause you, many of our viewers are saying that your volume is low.
Okay. Hello. Can you hear me? Please, you can hear me. Just put yes there, please. I've tried to pull the microphone closer to me. So, like I was saying, right now, increasingly, Oshomole's saying, when he said that for democracy to thrive, only those who can endure the pain of rigging should participate. It's actually what is playing out right now, because I'm sure that the observers are going to come out again and say that, man, across many parts of Nigeria, there was no election. It's a shame, the reports coming out from different parts of this country. We spent the last nearly 2 hours looking at the reports coming out of different places and all of that. And we are only just trying to motivate ourselves to come out to speak, to come on air, because we cannot run away. But it is one of those moments where sometimes you look back and ask yourself, why am I a Nigerian? Why am I a Nigerian? You understand what I'm saying? And when you question your own Nigerianness, this is one of such moments where you are just, you cannot just be proud of being a Nigerian, because it's just too much to live with, to bear. I mean, honestly, what is happening across the field, it's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a huge shame.
Yeah, thank you so much, Comrade Lamte. I share in your frustration as well. Sometimes waking up to hear all this. If politics, democracy is all for leadership, why should we kill to eventually be leaders? By the time you kill, who are you going to govern? I think INEC raised our hope. The barometer was raised very high. The temperature was set to say that, yes, this election will be different, will be like nothing that has happened before. And with what happened February 25th, Komelamte, I will tell you that that really dissipated a lot of energy from many people. And people were frustrated. You recall that people traveled from far and wide. Nigerians in diaspora, everybody came out. And that election today, as we speak, is still a subject of discussion for another day, even though a victor has been granted a certificate of return. Everybody is in court as well. And like I always say, Komelamte, immediately after God, the next most big person in the world is the president of Nigeria. And after that is the governors of Nigeria. And you will agree with me that that is what is happening live in this country at the moment. We've talked about voter apathy, which is what they wanted. Probably that's why they made the presidential election to be like that. They've achieved that, a tick for them. And when we begin to dissect, you see that all the governors in these states, APC, PDP, because Labour hasn't got any state at the moment, they are using all their powers of state to make sure they deliver. So at the end of the day, we're going to measure not who voted, not the sources of the vote, but how well you were able to outmaneuver the other person in terms of influence you have within the area. So we can say that it's going to be just APC and PDP because across the state, they have the instrument of manipulation. Even our own Governor Godwin Obaseki, who came in his second term through a very rightful process, it is alleged, even by the former governor, Adams Oshomole, that Governor Godwin Obaseki is using the instrument of state, even in Jatu and his ward around the area, to hoodwink people, to push them to do what they are not supposed to do. So I think we have that video. We can play it for our viewers before I take questions from you.
With some police to go to survey, and the soldiers chase them away and pick some of them. I don't know where they took them. This morning, I can show you photographs now. How the same people came back. Wait, let me look at it. To have video evidence of what is going on. You can see, this is the work of PDP this morning. Basically said they're from Benin to come across all this. Look at this. No, but don't take it from me. This is not going to show the whole thing, but just to say, call the people in surveyor and they will follow you photographs. I'm just showing you this as evidence of a desperate PDP, council result. So the basic thing is we have some confusion. It appears the security agencies compromise. The shame is people are coming out to vote. In some cases now, in Jetu, where Philip is voting, they know because it's a one community. When APC people come, they drive them away. And the shame is that police are watching why this is taking place. And where they are not able to chase the people away, like I show you in this photograph now in Sobe, they have 19 units in Sobe. About 10 units have been destroyed, as you saw here. Why police and soldiers are watching. So it's like you have police without policing. You have policemen supervising electoral crime. I have called the CP, I have told him. I have called the army, I have told them. Because the purpose of bringing security, the soldier, the army, the policeman is telling me that it's not their duty. If it's not their duty, what the hell are they doing in this area? They should leave us to our fate. So we know it's survival of the fittest. But people are obeying the law. You will think that presence of police means presence of security. And then you don't find that the security, because you are not armed, you are not ready to cause disruption, you want the vote to count, and then the police is watching, and the ballot papers are being destroyed. And they join in lamenting. You see them here now, I told them, this is not where to be. You should be in the scene where crime is taking place as we speak. So, and the whole idea is, do as much disruption as you can. And this is not something secret. They have told the police what they are going to do. They had meeting with the police, they told them. And I told the police people, if a criminal says, I am going to rob that house tomorrow, he has told you he's going to do it. Would you arrest him and prevent him from doing it? But I think there is a level of compromise that the security people have been compromised largely. Both army and police, and in some cases. In Edo South, that IDP camp, this morning they were voting, Pastor Folosho just called me. The people just came. About 7 people have voted. They just destroyed the ballot box, take away the ballot box, take away the papers, and the people are now stranded. So I told them they have to make sure that these people vote. That's an IDP card where internally displaced persons are. Why the Nigerian army and the Nigerian police cannot protect an IDP camp? It's one isolated community. So I see a grand conspiracy which we have been hearing about, that so much money has changed hands, and so police can be deployed, but they will not police. And crime is committed while police are the witnesses. That's what is going on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Comrade Lamte. I think listening to former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole, you see that what Barrister Dele Farotimi said is that APC PDP are seismic twins. Whichever you look, from which angle you look, they are the same. And from what the governor has said, he has given us a clear evidence. You don't even need anything to talk about if you are in the law court. But if you pose the same question to Shomole and ask for Lagos, he's going to speak with a different mouth. Exactly what he said is happening to him now is what is happening to the opposition in Lagos. So like I said, the governors are pulling all they can in their territory to do this different magic. But where can we find a good one to set our country right? Because what they are doing at the moment is suppressing the stronghold of possible opposition against them and allowing the other place to flow. Comrade Lamte, how did we get here? How?
Look, I'll start with Oshomole. Listening to him just now, somehow in this life, overtly or covertly, directly or indirectly, people will always reap what they have sown. Oshomole is the biggest culprit of what he's accusing Governor Obaseki for.
Governor Obaseki must have learned from him.
Yeah, if what he has said just now is true, Obaseki did not pick it from the gutters. Obaseki must have learned from somewhere. And one of those persons we have accused of spoiling our democracy is someone like Adams Oshomole. And what he's saying right now, if it is true, because we cannot independently verify some of those claims, there are things that we can verify already happening in Lagos State, where people are being manhandled, people are being deliberately disenfranchised, people are being threatened that if they are not voting for a particular political party, they should not come out, where a lot has been happening in Lagos. As a matter of fact, Lagos is just, a threshold, a very exemplary threshold for bad, politicking. Lagos is just something else. Everywhere you turn, it's not just about one place now. Everywhere, the desperation of politicians at the expense of our collective democracy. It's so sad. This is VGC Lagos State. Let's take a listen.
So this is Victoria Garden City, Lagos. Today, the 25th of March, getting ready for the governorship election.
The video is not showing. I don't know why these videos are not showing. So like what I was saying, my brother, is that these situations, okay, they are not just coming from the blues. This has become the political culture that we have in this country. The only sad thing about this is that there are those of us who have refused to be baptized into this kind of political culture. There are those of us who are very weary because we understand that if you do not have a proper democracy, there is no way you can guarantee national development. There is no way you can guarantee, those indices of states that make a state a proper state, not a failed state. All of these things that you are seeing right now, okay, these are all things that eventually will lead a state to be called a failed state. The beginning of failure in any state starts with a democracy. Peter Obi says that if you must be called Your Excellency, the process that brings you into office must, to a reasonable extent, be excellent. How can we look at some of these issues right now plaguing this country in our own electoral processes as these, okay, and guarantee that the future will be better? When somebody can just sit out there because he's a PDP member or is an APC member, okay, is contesting, he probably doesn't have any what's it called, a vision, any manifesto, but he's been asked to come and contest to occupy a position, so he's guaranteed to occupy that position. That is why today Nigerians are buying Naira, buying their own currency from the banks. That today is why everything about this country is questionable. And with what we are seeing right now, it does not speak to hope at all for the future. It does not speak at all to hope for the future. It's so unfortunate. It increasingly just looking like all the while we've been making all the advocacies here and there, all the effort, all of us collectively across this land will be putting into ensuring that we have, you know, a better democracy, that we don't translate into better institutions for the Nigerian state. It's all been some waste of time. That's what it looks like, and it's so shameful.
Yeah, Comrade, I know I share in your pain, but as a leader, we must not be forlorn. We have to keep believing in Nigeria. We have to keep believing that things will work someday, sometime. But Comrade, in all this, I think the elections are over now. It's the right time to begin to take stock. I want us to look at three things and to see what role we could have, or these people involved could have played to make it a bit better. I'm really worried about the people. I want us to start from the people. Will you say that the Nigerian people have not done what they are supposed to do? One has also asked, how come even when we have this difficulty, we still see Nigerians that are supporting this bad stuff? What is the role of the people? As a man that has been on the field for a very long time, what do you think the people could have done better? Well, because we thought the issue of vote buying was already eradicated with the advent of beavers. But today in Edo State, it's clear with one of our reports that even as low as 2,000 naira and a bag of Indomie, people are beginning to sell their votes. Is it that they understand the system? They knew that Nigerians are becoming wiser, and what they decided to do, in connect with the CBN, was to cut that naira stuff so that there will be some form of suffering. Because I would say before then, Nigerians were already awoken to the fact that we're not going to collect money. What speak about the people? What could they have done? Because again, even if we are to get there, we need the people to be involved. What would the people have done? What could they have done? Have they done well? What?
Pharmacist, I knew a man once. He was very unwell. He had been to so many different places, and there was no remedy. All the man had been spent. He was now living from, from, in fact, 0 to 0, nothing, no hope, and he was still very much unwell. On a certain day, he met somebody who said that the man should drink his own urine every morning, and that was going to, cure him. And he didn't question. He went ahead to drink his urine, and he drank his urine, every day until he almost died. Now, the issue was this man supposed to drink his urine? No, not at all. But this man had become very hopeless, nothing in sight. And so therefore, anything that comes appear to be a remedy if it is affordable. His urine was going to be affordable and all of that. Now, for the Nigerian people, it's like a circle. Okay, the leadership of the nation, they do something at one end, it will come around and put the people in a position where they almost have no choice. Today, it's been reported that in some parts of Edo State, Edo South, everywhere, the level of vote buying is like never before seen. As a matter of fact, the security operatives were even part of those sharing the money. How much were they sharing right now? Across board, 2,000 naira. Now, I wanted to pick out the people that were collecting money to go and vote. But the question is that how would you pick people out when just yesterday here, okay, somebody cried out to me. They had no money to feed. I sent this person 10,000 naira. This yesterday here, 10,000 naira. Okay, the person could not get a place to even collect the 10,000 naira. Now imagine that this person wakes up today. Okay, she's going to vote, and somebody offers this person 2,000 naira cash to go and vote. Do you think that this person will have the willpower not to collect that 2,000 naira because Comrade Lante Oriahi is asking Nigerians not to spread and vote?
Certainly no.
Of course he will collect. So are we going to blame that person if that person falls victim of this kind of arrangement? Of course not. Because the people that we have empowered over time, they have found a way to weaponize poverty in such a way that the system gives the ordinary people no option. Now today we are talking of serious voter apathy. There are so many things responsible for it. What is the name? Peter Obi, this election, there was high voter turnout. We saw what happened. That enough, okay, did not speak to why we have this level of voter apathy. There are people today who woke up. They have monies in their bank accounts, but they do not have money to even take themselves to the polling units. I spoke with somebody when I finished from work this morning. I caught somebody I know very well. I thought the person was already on the field to ask the person, what is the field like? And the person said, I've not left home. I'm not going. I said, why? He said, bro, I don't have money to even buy, a pure water. I have money in the bank, but I cannot go because I don't have money to even take me there. Talk less of buy pure water. So there are so many factors responsible for why we have voter apathy, why we have low voter turnout, and yet these factors are factors deliberately orchestrated by the establishment to keep Nigerians where they are. At the end of the day, it is to the interest of the establishment, because by the time they get into office, okay, until when election is coming again, nobody cares about anybody anymore. So it becomes highly questionable. When I said earlier, this is one of those low moments when you ask yourself, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it?
It's very sad. Thank you so much, Comrade Lamte. I love the way you anchor it there, because I would agree with you that I think the Nigerian people for this election, they've done very well. Somebody was trying to tell me, when we were all crying and drumming support for Emefiele and the CBN, the person told me that Nigeria system is like a draft. They've planned all this. You think that maybe Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not in consonant with Emefiele, you just be deceiving yourself. All these are all planned things orchestrated. Because, bro, just before that CBN issue, Nigerians were wiser. They were saying they were not going to collect money. I send monthly allowance to some people back home. A few have not gotten for 2 months now. And if anybody give them money, they will rush it. Some people even took their own old note to the bank to change. And as I speak today, they are unable to collect it. So it might just be that when we take a step forward, those distractors, they take 5 steps ahead. They plan it. They already orchestrate everything. And one cannot really blame people, because we, the people of Nigeria, we are part of it. All of us, we all want something good. They always know how to rejig, scatter, and injure our weak point. And Pius Moyi has said something, although one would say it's not the best thing, but he's saying that I wish we still have military coming back. It's better for us to know that we're in a military setting, we know how things work, instead of cry for this pseudo-democracy that end up not being real democracy. So, Comrade Lamte, we've talked about the people. We don't really see so much blame on them. The country and the system forces them to do this. Only the strong and the ones that have good hearts, that can still feed, that are able to stand the test of time. Obviously, we saw what happened in Lagos today when those guys chased the talks, and eventually, with the help of the police, one was shot down. Okay, we look at the people, Comrade Lamte. Now, what do you have to say about INEC? INEC raised our hope. INEC gave us everything, took it to another level, went to high heavens, even came to the United Kingdom to speak to the world that they're going to deliver a free, fair, and credible election. We know that INEC is not just a status. They have people that work there, and we've talked about the people. But do you think INEC now, from what has happened, have they covered themselves in glory? What is really happening? Is INEC too big to answer questions and talk to Nigerians? What is it about INEC that we cannot get right? We complained about Morris Iwu many years ago, but I think we've gone beyond where Morris Iwu left us now. We have gone backward. Do you think INEC are culpable? And if they are not, do you think they can redeem themselves? What's your take on INEC in this whole electoral process?
I think we may be making a huge mistake if we try to separate INEC from ourselves. We are Nigerians, and the people making up INEC, they are not British, they are Nigerians, isn't it?
Yeah, they are.
If we try to distance INEC and put INEC out there and put Nigeria here, so at the end of the day, INEC is just a reflection of what the society is. So unless and until something very drastic happens, and from the way Nigeria is wired, the drastic thing is not going to happen from the down upwards, it's going to happen from up downwards. So the issue of INEC cannot be discussed in isolation. It cannot be discussed as an entity separate from the Nigerian state. It cannot be separated from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It cannot be separated from Atiku Abubakar. It cannot be separated from all Nigerians, basically. INEC cannot be separated from that young man, reportedly today, or those young people today that were collecting 2,000 naira to go and vote PDP is somewhere around the Uwo there in those states. These are all, they all reflect INEC, and INEC reflects every one of them. INEC cannot be separated from Oshomole, who barely 8 years ago was doing the same thing right now he's accusing Governor Obaseki of doing. INEC cannot be separated from Lagos, where Yorubas believe that other people cannot come to Lagos and vote for other candidates of their choice. Where they are hounding up people, there are many people, they are destroying ballot boxes. So at the end of the day, there is a systemic collusion to keep the Nigerian state where the Nigerian state is. So what we have, okay, is a collusion of our Nigerianness, whether at the level of INEC or at the level of policing or at the level of the electorate, everywhere. So my brother, we cannot put INEC aside and discuss INEC separately, because what INEC is giving us, to be very honest, it is probably what, as a nation, we deserve. Unless and until, okay, something just happens that will not be, occasioned by any natural occurrence, but that will be occasioned, planned, worked out by Nigerians to rid the system of this nonsense. If that doesn't happen, my brother,
INEC, I can see.
I remember what I run away.
Aye, what I run away me.
When I remember MKO.
Aye, what I run away me.
It's a shame, my brother. It's a shame.
The water is really, really running. And Commander, you put it quite clearly. We cannot exonerate INEC. INEC, they are acutely culpable, and Nigerians are part of INEC. Somebody would also argue that we are all part of the system. What do you expect? A broken system will always give a broken result. But Commander, we've looked at the people, the role of the people. We've looked at the role of INEC, the umpire, and we haven't scored them anything high at all, because the entire process has been more of, like you always say, more of magic. And like we say in common parlance, the more you look, the less you see. But we've also said our structural arrangement is a big problem, Comrade Lamte. Our president is so powerful. Him alone appoints INEC. Him alone appoints the board of directors. Him alone appoints chairman. I dare say him alone even appoint or give employment to main staffs. And the same thing with the state electoral bodies headed by the governors. So now we are going to the government. Of course, we can see that in every state where they have an incumbent governor, that governor is using all the powers to make sure his party remain. Where he is not contesting, he has a surrogate or anointed candidate. It's like he also have a dog in the fight. So now, Comrade Lampton, I mean, this will make us to dive into maybe a restructuring. But what do you think? I know the answer is very clear, but we have to talk about it. What is the role of government, both at the state and federal level, in ensuring that we have a decent elections? And do you think a decent election is ever possible given the antecedents?
Within the structure that we have right now, within the pragmatic arrangement that is in place right now, there's nothing that is going to be decent about our elections. The only window that we appear to have right now is, God willing, even though it is looking increasingly difficult, I don't want to discourage people based on what is at play. God willing, Peter Obi eventually becomes president of Nigeria. Because he's a good man and he's a man of goodwill, and he has recruited so many people of goodwill that are willing, hungry to change this country. Changing this country is not a matter of beating people or killing people. It's a matter of strengthening the institutions and making them work for the state. Unless and until something like that happens, and the man is able to actually deploy that goodwill of his to governance, then gradually we may begin to see some change. Now, another thing again, coming from us is that in this country, sometimes I question why we exist as one indivisible entity. Don't get me wrong. In this country, we don't love ourselves. There is no love at all for ourselves. We do not have any sense, any patriotic spirit. We do not have any sense of looking at Nigeria, okay, and idolizing Nigeria and do all that we could within our powers to protect Nigeria. This country is still very much wired along certain divide. It could be, it's either religious, it's either ethnic, tribal, or as you may call it. Nobody sees the bigger picture called Nigeria. That is why that nonsense you persistently see in Lagos is happening, where some people believe that they own Lagos. The truth of the matter is that if we had that patriotic spirit entrenched in us, where the constitution has said that if you have lived in a place for at least 10 years consistently, you are from that place. Like you will see that, somebody like, what's it called, George Bush, they will say, oh, his brother is from Texas. He's trying to become the governor of Texas. Another brother of office is from California. He's trying to become a House of Assembly member of California. Another one of them is from from Washington, because they've lived in these places and these places have become their homes. There is that sense of nationality. There is that sense of patriotism. There's that sense of understanding that the United States is supreme, and everybody does what they need to do to protect the emblem of the United States. We don't have that. That is not going to come in isolation. It has to come by deliberate effort from those who know how to govern a state, to entrench that in the people. For the people to see Nigeria first before they see any other thing around Nigeria. Right now, okay, many of the misguided Yorubas are, oh man, it doesn't matter how the election was done, we have a Yoruba man as president. Oh, the others are like, oh, thank God, we have an Hausa person right now, the Fulani person right now as vice. The Yoruba person who is president right now, for some of them have started, he may not live long because he's old and he's unwell. So the power is going to come back to naught. So we are still having this kind of, so it is never for them about competence, it's never for them about integrity, it is my trust man. That when you accuse of people of stealing, some people will tell you that, please leave him alone. He's our thief.
He is not the first.
He's not the first. They give all the reasons. Not the crime this person has committed against the state, that's not just affecting his own people, but affecting the entire societal fabric of society. So this is where we are. So it comes to question, really, do we really need to be together as one nation? Because, my brother, I will not lie to you, my brother. The way I will approach, or the average Benin man will approach matters that have to do with the Benins, okay, with some sort of where this, anyhow it be, this not my people, is different from the same way that average Benin man will approach what talks about Nigeria. So, my brother, there is so much wrong, and it starts with our psyche, and that psyche has to change before every other thing, will change around it. And that's why the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and every other thing shall be added unto you. If we must seek a better Nigeria, we must seek, okay, a holistic change of, of the mind, a decolonization of the mind, to have a different understanding of what Nigeria is to us. Because right now, Nigeria doesn't mean much to many people. And we need to make Nigeria mean much to every Nigerian for us to make that difference.
Are we getting a call?
I just want to get this one of our guys from Lagos. Henry, you are on speaker. We are live. Tell us what is happening at your end now.
Well, for me, it's unfortunate. This is not an election. The whole expectation.
Sorry, sir. Just situate it. Where are you calling from, so that the viewers will know?
Yeah, okay. My name is Henry Adabo. I'm reporting from Nigeria, from Ogba, Ikeja local government. And luckily, I happens to be one of the Labour Party agents today. I volunteered myself to just see how I can support. So I volunteered to take the responsibility of agent under Labour Party. So for me, this is not an election. It's not because they won in my polling unit, but because of the shenanigans and all the things I saw. In fact, this is not the country, and it's unfortunate that people we are looking into the deep sea and we are diving into it. That is how I can just analyze the situation we are facing right now.
What happened, sir? Can you be specific?
This is a place where you see talks, you see Agberos coming to attack, coming to do all sorts, coerce people to vote their party. You see all these people, especially the APC supporters, harassing people. If you are not voting in this polling unit or APC, live here. We have to be talking to them that allow people to vote their choice. It's that bad. So these are just the summary of what happened in my own polling unit.
We hear that there has been so much disruption in Lagos.
Serious one. And not only that, at the end of the exercise, so many people, so many people like in my own polling unit, so many people did not turn out. The few people that turned out, they just did it because they just thought that why are they sitting at home? Some came out to just vote, and when they voted, they went back. So we that are under Labour Party, we just have to stay there just to see how the whole thing will end. But to my surprise, at the end of the day, even the Beavers still did not upload the results. So they had to call and start calling. I had to also call my people to say, see, they said we should just leave it for them. They still part of the game they are playing. We should just snap the result and collect our own copy and leave the rest for them.
So as reported, you can equally confirm that Beavers did not upload results across many places.
Sure. Absolutely.
How do you feel? How do you feel as a Nigerian?
I feel bad and I feel sad for this country. Not because at this age in time, we are still the way we are, especially in the last 8 years. Looking at all the things we have gone through as a country, and ordinary election, it happened in the last in the presidential election. That one, in fact, I want to say what we saw in that one was even better compared to this one. This one, it was just, it was just something else. So the morale of people that came out in the last one dropped because of what the result turned out to be. So people couldn't turn out again like I expected in this one. So because of that, a lot of things were just playing around, and a few people that came outside to also vote. Some were motivated with money, some were giving a lot of things to say, come and vote for us. We saw the whole things that they were doing, and if you try to harass, there is a talk, there is this and all that somewhere that will come and be harassing you, intimidating you, flogging you. It's that bad.
So, as a Lagosian yourself, even though you are not, you lived in Lagos for a very long time, what do you think is the way forward, given all of these kind of things right now that has, embraced this election?
For me, I think the way forward, subsequent election, I don't know if it's possible. Let them assess it so that maybe a different body from a different country can handle it for us. But as long as this remains under Nigeria, I don't see how we can make any headway.
Thank you very much, Mr. Henry. God bless you so much for your report and for your insight. Thank you so very much. I'll talk to you later, my brother.
All right, sir.
God bless.
It is indeed very, very frustrating. I'm telling you. The plan now is, and you see, like it was reported this week, the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu is calling for reconciliation. Let us work together. And thank God Peter Obi answered him very clearly. How do we work together in the face of all this? How? You beat a child and you ask the child not to cry. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if the entire governorship election will be cancelled. I don't know what's going to happen. But of course, what they would always say is go to court. So they've had their way again. They would have just told us from the word go that we are not ready. This is what we want to do. Instead of raising the hope of Nigerians, many people continue to give their life and time. Everybody cannot run away from the country. Everybody cannot japa. Somebody will say, yes, you guys are comfortable out there talking. But not everybody would want to leave their country. Even we abroad, we are also suffering. We want to go back. We might be enjoying all that stuff, but what's original is original. What's not yours is not yours. It's our country. And the earlier these politicians realize this, the better. But again, we are just like an investment. The amount of money they make from us, they will never, never let go. And that is why, like you said, it has to be from top to bottom. Bottom to top will not work. We need to have a leader that is determined. And that was why God, in his wisdom, gave us Peter Obi. I will not want to be very negative. I still believe in hope. But I think that once we get a headship that is direct, that has a direction, everything really will begin to fall into place. What can you do? They use the instrument. They use the instrument of state. Wike is using it in Rivers, or Baseki has just used it in Edo State. Sanwo-Olu is using it in Lagos. And as you go from state to state, every leader in that state, they are using it. We just have only 28 governorship elections. There are nine states where there are no governorship elections. and it's just House of Assembly election. What is so difficult in all this that we cannot do? Why do we even need to queue up on election day? Economic activity has been at express air for the last 3 weeks. So why must everything go down only for us to have something like this? If I was chief executive and I give you 3 trillion naira to execute a business, you should be going for a sack. We need an excellent result, a beautiful election. And Nigerians have come out, but they've been suppressed. And they've been suppressed yet again by our own people. It's not Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It is fellow Agberos who are Nigerians. And why can't they understand that it is better for us to have a better country where everything is fine than you getting peanuts today? Tomorrow you'll be suffering. In a few years' time, one will want to know where MC Oluomo would be. You can't remain there forever. They'll begin to fight themselves, and you can't remain there forever.
To be honest, pharmacist, I don't really think. I think mentioning. I think MC Oluomo, as he's called, is too infinitesimal as far as the problem we are talking about is concerned. He is just a vessel. Anybody can occupy that, can play that role. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Don't you see? We were waiting for. We were waiting for police report. Police report just came out today that MC Oluomo said he was joking.
No, even if the guy was not there, somebody else will play that role. I mean, his own role is very ephemeral to the problem. I think the problem, there's a deeper problem than MC. And I can tell you the truth. If we have our institutions strengthened and we have a working system, people like MC Oluomo will not be existing. There will be no role to play. If this MC Oluomo travels and leaves Nigeria to now start having his life or start living in a country where the system is working, he becomes like every other human being in that particular system, behaving rightly, because there is no room for all this kind of. So mentioning his name, as far as I'm concerned, is trying to dignify him. To be honest, I think that he is not part of the problem at all. He's not. He's just playing a role because there is a foundation to the problem. It is that foundation that worries most of us, because that's what MC Oluomo is not there. Anybody can be there and still be doing the same thing that is being
absolutely.
You get what I'm saying now? So I think we have a deeper problem. The Benin man says, the worm that is the kola nut is inside the kola nut. You understand what I'm saying now? So if you want to cure the matter, you have to remove the worm from inside the kola nut. And that worm has to do with the weak institutions we have, very weak, porous, non-existent in some cases. And you just need somebody who will give life to these institutions and make them work. Otherwise, it is an aberration to even have an election like this where everything will be granted. No economic activities, everybody is screened up in one place and all of that. Why can't, I've witnessed election, if I'm not mistaken, in at least 3 Western countries, my brother. I've witnessed an election in Germany. I have witnessed and participated in an election in Spain. I have witnessed and participated in an election in the United Kingdom. There is nothing that looks like the way we're having elections. When you're having election in the UK, it doesn't even look like it. In fact, the last election we had, local election, it's
a Thursday. You go to work.
I forgot. I was almost coming to the end of the election at about, 7, 8 p.m. when somebody reminded me, I think it was my wife, said, are you not voting today? Okay, I'll make it because it's going to close at about 10 p.m. at night. And I went there, I only knew who they there. You understand what I'm saying now? Voted and left. Nobody, you wouldn't even know there's an election.
Because the answer to it is that because the election is not money. All our politicians just go there with the hope of making money.
No. I think the answer to it is that the institutions of state are
not working.
That's what makes the difference. The institutions here, responsible for different things, they are working and they know what they ought to be doing. It cannot be compromised because the system checks itself. You cannot buy votes because the system checks itself. More than that, nobody is going to sell his mandate to you because everybody is reasonably okay. Even the best are not hungry. So who wants to come and say, okay, come and pay me £1,000 for me to vote for you? That means you are killing your political career, but that person is going to call BBC the next day and say, man, this particular candidate is bribing for 1,000 naira. As a matter of fact, you will not just kill your political career, you will kill your family's political and social career.
Everything. You destroy their name.
So who is going to say, man, come and pay me £100 or come and pay me 200 or 1,000 to vote for you? When this person, sometimes, if you even look, sometimes £1,000 is just a weekly earning or less than a week earning for this person. But even if the person is not even earning £1,000 a week, whatever the person is earning, the person is able to feed and live and pay his bills. He doesn't need that external, So you see, at the end of the day, when you say everything is working, it's not just, we are not just looking at the ministries or the secretaries or this, we are looking at holistically society. Every day we are talking of cost of living, and what government is doing to ensure that at least cost of living is leveled up with the rate of inflation. These are working institutions trying to ensure that there's a balance in the affairs of states, so that one side will not put pressure on the other side. In Nigeria, it's not like that. There's so much poverty in the land, so much illiteracy in the land, and so there's pressure on all other areas. So even that young person right there, I just told you the case of somebody right now, yesterday here, I sent a 10,000 naira, and at least, I don't know whether it will not collect them now, but through I said, don't collect them. And the person, they're hungry. The shortest place was to collect the money. He said, man, there's somebody pay 4,000 to collect 10,000. That you go pay 6,000, 4,000 for that, then collect 6,000. She was unwilling to do that. Imagine that person come out for election today. He never eats. And somebody give us a 2,000 and say, go and vote for so and so person. You think that person will not? Because we have weak institutions and things are not working. Pharmacists.
Yeah, it is very frustrating. But Comrade Lamte, as we begin to round up, well, this one is almost upon us and it's gone now. What is the way forward? Must we remain in sin for grace to abound? Nigeria, I believe when there is life, there is hope. Should we dust our bag and begin to prepare for the next 4 years? Who knows what will happen in that 4 years? It might even still be worse.
I honestly, I hope not to resign to fate. I've looked at the past few months coming, and I can tell myself that as a Nigerian, as one who loves that we have a better country, I have contributed, my brother. And I've equally told myself that, a tree cannot make a forest. A tree, according to Loretta, can start a forest. I think that we have started as individual trees to start a forest. And if we believe that we must achieve a goal in our generation, in our lifetime, we'll be making a mistake. We are hoping that we have been able to set some examples. However, our effort we carry, we still keep on doing the best that we can do within our own, remix, and how much our strength can carry us, and hope that generations after us will carry on, you understand, and do even the best that we have been unable to do. Hopefully, at some point, we cannot put time or date to it. At some point, hopefully, maybe things may just begin to turn around for good for the country at some point. But the Benin man says, Isaac Beze Ezema. What I have resigned to is that the Nigeria that I seek may not happen in my lifetime. I am willing to embrace that because the change of Nigeria is not dependent on what I do alone, or what you do, or what both of us do. It's dependent on what we all do. And if we are all not in agreement right now in this generation, hopefully after our time has passed, some others will come and have more agreements in subsequent generations to change the course of the Nigerian state. Otherwise, some of us are going to exit the scene. May God give us long life in so much pain and heartbreak, but pray to God that others after us will carry on from there. I tell you, my brother, the problems and the solutions. Okay, they are there, they are available. Those who are leading us, they know the truth, they know the answers, but they're not just willing to do it. So we probably need that generation that will be more harmonized, more in agreement to embracing that change and ensuring that that change comes upon Nigeria. But for now, my brother, we just keep doing the bit that we can do to say more, maybe to lie.
Thank you so much, Comrade Lamte. It's on that note that we are going to anchor it there. Our viewers, friends of the Comrade Show, it's 1 hour on the clock. We decided to come out just to talk to us for 1 hour on this gubernatorial election day. And from feelers and reports, it's not lived up to expectations. But we've also said and look at critical areas. We looked at the role of the people, the role of government, and indeed the role of INEC. And in all, we haven't really scored them so well. The result, hopefully, for this charade of an election will be trickling in. We will also be here to give you the results of those elections whenever they come in. By the grace of God, tomorrow we'll be on our regular program, The Comrade and Friends, which will be 5 o'clock UK time, 6 p.m. Nigerian time. Fellow obedient, fellow Nigerians, once there is life, there is hope. We'll continue to push the narrative. And like Comrade said, proverbially, maybe not in our lifetime, but sometime Nigeria indeed will get there. And like somebody will always say, may Nigeria never happen to you. Nigeria has happened to so many Nigerians today who came out to vote. Some have been badly injured, some have been beaten, some have been deprived of that responsibility to elect another leader. Time indeed will tell. A sound warning to our government. Let us do the right thing for this great nation. For INEC, you are an umpire. You have to do the right thing. And for our people, I know times are difficult, but let's look beyond that, beyond immediate gain, and look at the brighter future for ourselves, for our children, and our children yet unborn. Keep doing good. Remain a committed Nigeria. And like Peter Obi said, a new Nigeria is possible. How soon? Only time will tell. Bye for now.
Comrade Show, Comrade Lamte Oriente. This is the Comrade Show.